Day 70 morning briefing. Overnight, U.S. Central Command struck Iranian military positions at Qeshm Port, Bandar Abbas, and Minab in self-defense after Iranian forces attacked 3 U.S. Navy destroyers transiting the Strait of Hormuz. Per Iranian sources, the strikes hit the port, the loading dock, and a garrison at Bandar Abbas, and across the strait at Qeshm and Minab the missile launch sites, drone launch sites, and command and control nodes were all destroyed. The USS Truxton, the USS Raphael Peralta, and the USS Mason came under coordinated missile, drone, and small boat attack while transiting the strait, and not a single American asset took damage during the engagement. Iran's armed forces spokesperson is now claiming the regime immediately retaliated against U.S. military vessels east of the strait and south of Chabahar port. But Centcom flatly denies any U.S. assets were struck. Iran's military command is publicly vowing to respond powerfully. And Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Qalibaf openly stated the regime has not even begun, which is empty rhetoric from a navy already on the bottom of the Persian Gulf. President Trump dismissed the entire engagement as a love tap and a trifle. And his exact words were, "They trifled with us today. We blew them away. They trifled. I call that a trifle." Trump issued a chilling warning to Tehran from the Lincoln Memorial. Quote, "You won't have to know if there's no ceasefire. You'll just have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran." Trump added that if the regime fails to sign a deal soon, the United States will knock them out a lot harder and a lot more violently. And the message to the Supreme Leader could not be more unmistakable. Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Caine briefed that more than 100 American aircraft are patrolling the skies over the strait and that over 15,000 service members are now actively engaged in the operation. Caine confirmed Iran has attacked U.S. forces more than 10 times since the April 8 ceasefire, has fired on commercial vessels 9 separate times, and has seized 2 container ships outright. Roughly 1,500 commercial vessels carrying 2,500 mariners are now trapped inside the Persian Gulf. And Iran's blockade of global shipping is extracting an unbearable cost from every nation that depends on the strait. Brent crude is up 1.2% overnight to $101.26 per barrel, and West Texas Intermediate is up 0.88% to $95.64. And the markets are pricing in escalation, not de-escalation, as of this morning. The Iranian regime made a colossal mistake earlier this week by firing on the Chinese-owned Qeshm tanker off the UAE Khalifa port, which was the first Chinese vessel struck since the war began. China's National Financial Regulatory Administration ordered the country's largest banks to halt new loans to 5 U.S. sanctioned refiners with Iranian oil ties, including Hengli Petrochemical, ahead of the Trump-Xi summit on May 14 and 15. The United Arab Emirates officially exited OPEC on May 1. And the UAE has absorbed more incoming Iranian fire than any other country in the entire war while remaining firmly on the American side of the line. Vladimir Putin refused to lift a finger when the Iranian Foreign Ministry begged Moscow for naval support. And the regime has been abandoned by every supposed ally, with even Moscow choosing the Trump administration over the mullahs. During Operation Epic Fury, the United States annihilated 158 Iranian naval vessels. The entire submarine fleet was sunk. 16 mine layers were destroyed. And over 150 warships across 16 classes were wiped off the map. The Iranian rial has collapsed to 2 million per dollar. Tehran is hemorrhaging 400,000 barrels per day in lost oil production. And the CIA assesses the regime has at most 3 to 4 months before economic hardship breaks. The dictatorship. The IRGC is firing missiles, drones, and small boats in a desperate attempt to bait Trump into a wider war that would extend their own lifeline. And every attack is a cry for relevance from a regime that knows the clock is running out. A Harvard-Harris poll this week shows 79% of Americans demand Iran stop funding terror. 75% demand recognition of Israel's right to exist. And 71% demand the regime turn over all enriched uranium. President Trump's offer remains the pen or the sword, which means signing a permanent shutdown of uranium enrichment with full inspections or watching the B-2 stealth bombers come back to finish what they started. In February, Trump holds every card at this table. The Iranian Navy is on the bottom of the Persian Gulf. The missile production lines are rubble. The proxies are gutted. The economy is imploding. China is quietly walking away. And the regime is openly panicking. Download No Mercy on Google Play, the Android alarm app that uses a QR code to force you out of bed. Set goals. Get persistent reminders. Van X, creator of No Mercy. Using No Mercy helps me publish more conservative news. So please download if you have Android. MAGA only. Never socialism.